My name is Sarah, and I'm 28 years old. What I'm about to tell you happened 6 months ago, and I still check my car every single day because of it. I thought AirTags were supposed to make us feel safer, until one was used to hunt me down. It started on a Tuesday night in March. I was driving home from my shift at the hospital where I work as a nurse. Around 10 p.m., my iPhone buzzed with a notification I'd never seen before. AirTag found moving with you. I pulled over immediately, my hand shaking on the steering wheel. The message said an unknown AirTag had been detected traveling with me for the past 3 hours. 3 hours. I sat there in my car on that dark street, the engine still running, reading the notification over and over. Someone had planted a tracker on me. Someone knew where I was. Right now, the app offered to play a sound to help me locate it. I pressed the button, and that's when I heard it, a high-pitched beeping coming from underneath my car. I got out, my phone's flashlight shaking in my hand as I crouched down to look. There it was, a small white disc magnetically attached to the inside of my rear wheel well. An AirTag. I grabbed it and threw it as far as I could into the woods beside the road. I should have felt relief, but instead, a horrifying thought crept into my mind. How long had it really been there? The notification said 3 hours, but AirTags don't alert you immediately. They wait, sometimes days. I drove home faster than I've ever driven, constantly checking my rearview mirror. Every pair of headlights behind me felt like a threat. When I got to my apartment, I ran inside and locked every door and window. The next morning, I reported it to the police. The officer seemed concerned but told me what I already feared. AirTags are anonymous, unless the person left fingerprints or was caught on camera placing it. There was nothing they could do. He advised me to check my car regularly and be vigilant. For the next 2 weeks, I checked my car obsessively. Under the bumpers, in the wheel wells, inside the gas cap, everywhere. Nothing. I started to feel paranoid, jumping at shadows, but I told myself I was being careful, not crazy. Then, on a Friday night, I got another notification. AirTag found moving with you. My blood ran cold. I was at a friend's birthday party at a downtown bar. I checked my car that morning. I was sure of it. But somehow, there was another one. Someone had put another AirTag on my car, or on me. I excused myself and went outside, my heart pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. I played the sound. The beeping was close. Too close. It wasn't coming from my car. It was coming from my purse. With trembling hands, I dumped everything out onto the hood of my car. Wallet, keys, lipstick, phone charger, and there, in the small zippered pocket I never used, was another AirTag. Someone hadn't just tagged my car. They'd opened my purse. They'd gotten close enough to touch my personal belongings. When? Where? At work? At the grocery store? At the gym? I called the police again, and this time they took it more seriously. They checked the AirTag serial number and told me something that made my skin crawl. It had been registered and activated 3 months ago. 3 months. That's how long someone had been tracking me, learning my patterns, knowing where I lived, where I worked, where I shopped. But here's the part that still keeps me awake at night. When I got home that night, I found a note slipped under my apartment door. Just 4 words, handwritten in red ink. I liked the blue purse better. My blue purse. The one I'd thrown away 2 months earlier because the zipper broke. Whoever this was had been watching me long before the first AirTag. They knew what I carried, what I wore, what I threw away. I moved out of that apartment the next week. I changed my phone number, deleted all my social media, and I never, ever park in the same spot twice. The police never found who did it. Sometimes I still get phantom notifications, phantom beeps that aren't really there. I've had therapists tell me it's PTSD, but I know the truth. Somewhere out there, someone is still watching. Maybe not with an AirTag anymore, but with their own eyes. Waiting, learning, planning, and the worst part, they could be anyone. The person behind you in line at coffee, your neighbor, someone you smiled at once. Check your cars, check your bags, because if it happened to me, it could happen to you. My name is Marcus, I'm 32, and I need to tell you about how a $29 piece of technology almost cost me everything. This happened last year, and I'm still dealing with the legal aftermath. My relationship with Jessica ended badly. 5 years together, and it fell apart over 6 months of fights, mistrust, and toxicity. When she finally moved out of our shared apartment, I felt relief. I thought it was over. I was wrong. About 3 weeks after the breakup, I started noticing coincidences. I'd go to grab lunch at a new restaurant I'd never mentioned, and she'd text me, "How's the food at Mario's?" I'd visit my parents 2 hours away, and she'd comment on an Instagram story I hadn't posted. "Tell your mom I said hi." At first, I thought she was just checking my social media obsessively, but I'd made everything private. Then I thought maybe we had mutual friends feeding her information, but the coincidences kept piling up, getting more specific, more impossible. One night, I went on a first date with someone new, Emily. We went to a movie theater across town, somewhere Jessica and I had never been together. Halfway through the movie, my phone lit up with a text from Jessica. "You moved on fast. Hope she likes superhero movies more than I did." I excused myself and went to the bathroom, my mind racing. How did she know? I looked at my location settings. Everything was off. Find my friends, Snapchat maps, everything. I hadn't posted anything online. Then I remembered something I'd read about, AirTags. Back at my apartment that night, I tore everything apart. My car, my backpack, my jacket pockets. Nothing. I felt insane, paranoid. Maybe it really was just coincidences. Maybe I was being. That's when I found it. It was inside my gym bag, tucked into a small tear in the lining. An AirTag. And when I checked to find my app on a friend's iPhone, I could see it there. A gray dot labeled Marcus's keys. That definitely wasn't mine. She'd been tracking me for 3 weeks. Every date, every friend's house, every late night at the office. She knew everything. I was furious. I confronted her over text, told her I found it and I was going to the police. She denied everything, said I was crazy, paranoid, that she'd moved on. But I had the AirTag. I had proof, or so I thought. When I went to the police, they ran the serial number. The AirTag was registered to an Apple ID, but not Jessica's. It was registered to me, my Apple account. My credit card had purchased it. I tried to explain that she must have used my account, maybe while we were still together, but the officer gave me a look I'll never forget, like I was the stalker trying to frame my ex. The investigation turned on me. Jessica filed for a restraining order, claiming I'd been harassing her, that I'd planted the AirTag myself as part of some elaborate scheme to blame her. And because it was registered to my account, purchased with my card, I had no proof it wasn't me. My lawyer explained what had probably happened. At some point during our relationship, she'd used my unlocked phone or computer to order the AirTag, using my saved payment info. She'd set it up on her device, but kept my name on the registration. It was the perfect setup. The restraining order went through. I lost my job because of the accusations. Who wants to employ an alleged stalker? Emily, the girl from the date, wanted nothing to do with me. My reputation was destroyed. But here's what really keeps me up at night. 6 months after everything fell apart, I got a package in the mail. No return address. Inside was a new AirTag and a note. "This one's registered to me. Want to try again? Jay." She'd won. She destroyed my life. And now she was taunting me, showing me that she could do it again anytime she wanted. And I'd be the one who looked crazy. The one who looked dangerous. I still have that AirTag in a safe deposit box. My lawyer says it's not enough evidence to reopen the case. The restraining order is still active, so I can't even confront her about it without risking jail time. I've read online that I'm not the first person this has happened to. Abusive exes using AirTags to stalk, harass, and then flipping the script when they're caught. The technology was meant to find lost keys, but it's become the perfect weapon for stalkers. So if you're going through a breakup, check your stuff. Everything. Because the person who knows you best also knows exactly where to hide the things you'll never find. My name is David, and I'm a 41-year-old sales director. What happened to me during a business trip last October has left me with a question I can't answer. What do you do when a person tracking you is already dead? I travel a lot for work, different city every week, different hotel, different rental car. I'm used to the routine. But on this particular trip to Seattle, something felt off from the moment I picked up my rental car at the airport. I was pulling into my hotel parking lot when I got the notification. AirTag detected near you. I checked my phone, confused. It said an unknown AirTag had been traveling with me since I left the airport. I figured it was probably attached to the rental car from the previous customer, something the rental company missed when they cleaned it. I did a quick check, looked under the bumpers and the wheel wells, all the obvious spots. Didn't find anything. I was tired from the flight, so I decided I'd deal with it in the morning and have the rental company swap out the car. That was my first mistake. That night, around 2 a.m., I woke up to my phone buzzing repeatedly. More notifications, but these were different. AirTag detected in your location. AirTag is nearby. Play sound to locate AirTag. I sat up in bed, my heart starting to pound. The AirTag wasn't just in the car, it was here, in my hotel room, or right outside it. I grabbed my phone and pressed the button to play the sound. A few seconds later, I heard it, a faint beeping coming from inside my suitcase that I'd packed myself, in my own home, 3 days ago. With shaking hands, I opened it and started pulling out clothes. The beeping got louder. Finally, I found it, an AirTag tucked inside a rolled-up pair of socks I'd packed, but hadn't worn yet. Someone had been in my house. Someone had opened my suitcase and planted a tracker, knowing I'd be traveling, knowing I'd take it with me. I called hotel security immediately. They came up, checked the halls, checked the cameras. Nothing suspicious. They offered to move me to a different room, which I accepted, but I didn't sleep the rest of that night. The next morning, I called the police back home. I gave them my address, explained what happened, asked them to check my house. What they found made everything so much worse. My back door had been jimmied open. They estimated it happened 3 to 4 days ago, right around when I would have been packing. Nothing was stolen. Nothing was broken. The only thing disturbed was my bedroom, where I'd left my suitcase while I packed. Someone had broken into my home for the sole purpose of tracking me. The police checked the AirTag's serial number and registration. It took them 2 days, but they finally got back to me with information that made my blood run cold. The AirTag was registered to a man named Thomas Brennan. I didn't recognize the name at first, but when they sent me his photo, my legs went weak. I knew him, not personally, but from work. 6 months earlier, I'd been the director who had to lay off 15 people during company downsizing. Thomas Brennan was one of them. I'd sat across from him in a conference room and told him his position was being eliminated. He'd taken it hard, said he couldn't believe I was doing this to him, said he'd remember what I did. I thought he just meant he was angry, hurt. I never thought. The police told me what I'd somehow suspected, but couldn't bring myself to believe. Thomas Brennan had died by suicide 4 months ago. 2 months before someone broke into my house, and planted that AirTag in my suitcase. The case went cold. The police had no explanation. Someone must have had access to his Apple account, they said. Maybe a family member, someone carrying on what he'd started. But his family had no motive. They'd moved on. They'd grieved. They didn't blame me for what happened. I hired a private investigator who found something that still makes my skin crawl. Thomas's Apple account showed the AirTag had been purchased and activated 2 weeks after his death. Someone was using a dead man's account. Someone who knew what he'd wanted to do. Or someone who wanted me to think he was still out there. But here's what keeps me awake every single night. Last week, I got a notification on my phone. Another AirTag. This time in my new suitcase. The one I bought after I burned the old one. The one I keep in a locked closet in my house with a new security system. When the police checked the registration, it was still Thomas Brennan's account. I don't know if I'm being haunted by a ghost or hunted by someone very much alive who wants me to think I'm losing my mind. I don't know if Thomas somehow planned this before he died, setting up some kind of automated system to torment me forever, or if someone close to him is carrying out a revenge plot in his memory. What I do know is this: I can't travel anymore. I can't pack a suitcase without taking everything apart. I can't stay in hotels without tearing the room apart looking for tracking devices. My career is falling apart. My marriage is strained. I'm seeing therapists and taking medication, but nothing helps because the notifications keep coming. Sometimes, late at night, I wonder if this is what Thomas wanted all along. Not to find me, not to hurt me, just to make me live with the same fear and helplessness he must have felt in those final months. If you're reading this, check your bags before you travel. Check everything, because the person tracking you might not even be alive anymore, but they're still watching. These were 3 true stories about how AirTags, devices designed to help us find lost items, became tools of terror. If you've ever received an unknown AirTag notification, you're not alone, and you're not paranoid. Check your vehicles, your bags, your belongings regularly. If you have your own AirTag horror story, leave it in the comments below. And remember to like and subscribe for more true scary stories. Stay safe out there, because someone might be watching.